How's it going, everyone? Sir Douglas here once again with a brand new video. And look, I'll be honest. I thought normally, normally when it comes to the Toronto Argos and the month of December, it's usually fairly quiet. It's usually pretty quiet. And this year, it wasn't. So welcome once again to another episode of The Argos and The Restless. And well, we got a lot to get through, so I'm not gonna stand on ceremony here. Let's just get right into it. So let's start off with players. So there have been six key re-signings over the past month, and as you can see, we've got as you can see here. I'm just gonna There we go. So Adam Guillemette is back. Benji Franklin is back. Jack Cassar, Isaac D'Arcangelo, Dave Unger III. Are all back. But there is one other one that has come back, and that is good old Jake Herslow. So you can call him Jumpin' Jake. You can call him Hurdlin' Herslow. The only thing that matters is that whenever he jumps, the Super Mario jumping sound effect kicks in. So we've got six players so far, and Three Down Nation reported, or I think it was like today or yesterday or this morning or whatever, that fairly close that Wynton McManus and the team are talking. So that to me is a big deal because Wynton is the captain of that defense. So we kind of need him back. So, to put it bluntly, we need that man back in the defense because I mean, you take a look, like he's a great ambassador for the team. He loves the city, he loves the fans, he wants to stay. Bring him back. Let's keep him in double blue for at least another season. Okay, Argos, hope you're listening. But obviously there was an awful lot more to this. So to what we've seen. So just before the schedule came out, the Argos are bringing back Jim Barker. Now, if you've been a fan for a while, you recognize him because he was our coach at one point. He was our GM at one point. He's been with the team off and on, but he's been around the block a few times. He knows what he's doing. So basically you have GM being Pinball Clemens, Jim Barker, Director of Player Personnel, and John Huffnagel pretty much being the consigliere, if you will, between both Pinball and our new head coach, Mike Miller. So now you're probably wondering, what does that mean for our assistant general manager? Well, he got the boot. He got the boot. Now, for some people, you're going to be cheering and popping champagne bottles off. For myself, I'm pretty much with you. It's not because of his contributions to building the team. It's more toward what he did outside of it. So, back, of course, first year back after COVID, got into a scrap with Ticat fans at the 2021 East Final, which they started, by the way, and ended our $5 beer at BMO, you bastards. Anyway, so he did that. He got into a physical altercation. Homophobic slurs were uttered. Indefinitely suspended by the league. Quietly brought back. Then he tried to cover... He very poorly attempted to cover up the sexual harassment allegations that were made against Chad Kelly. But oddly enough, all that wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back. Okay? I'll explain. Because a week after that was reported by 3 Down, this was reported by 3 Down. CFL closes investigation into alleged Argonauts tampering with writers Corey Mace. So you're probably thinking, wait a minute. So the Argos making all these front office moves, and then this pops up. Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like the Argos. I mean, it was no secret that the Argos were calling pretty much everyone on a list, everyone on a list to try and find their next head coach, only to find one internally. That's perfectly fine. But something is kind of fishy. And so Farhan Lalji on TSN went on to Sports Cage, which is a sports talk radio show out of Regina, and with Jamie and I and Piffle's podcast, Greg McCullough. Shout out to Piffle's podcast, by the way. And kind of went to town on this.
Let's start with the Argos tampering case closed. We don't know anything that we didn't know before, like unless you got something to throw at us.
How do I say this as cryptically as possible? It's been dealt with. So you'll see some of the moves that have happened in and around Toronto.
Okay.
It's been dealt with. So read between the lines as you will, and it hasn't been nothing. I told you in Dallas last week that that they were close, that this was significant, and I think the league took it seriously.
Okay, so as someone who is a very astute dot connector, I'll just here's what I think. Murphy called Mace, asked him to come back. Mace obviously declined. He told Jeremy O'Day that the Argos called. O'Day threw a shit fit, told the league. League then called the Argos and said, "Okay, look, here's the deal. We got Murphy here. We got him dead to rights. It's either you fire him or you're going to lose the first 3 draft picks in 2026. And it's obvious what you're going to take." So for the record, it wasn't getting into a fight with Ticats fans, using homophobic slurs whilst getting into that fight. It wasn't covering up a sexual harassment allegation. It was potential tampering that got him the boot. No offense, good riddance to bad rubbish. But there is more to this. Now, another thing is that the CFLPA's team grades came out. So basically, over the last couple of seasons, the CFLPA would basically poll the membership and say, "Listen, tell us what you think your team's facility what is your team really like?" So things like nutrition, family treatment, training equipment, etc. Right? So the grades were released not too long ago. Now, as you can see, hang on. I'll just do a quick adjustment. We're going to have to do a quick adjustment here. So I'll just go like that. There we go. So as you can see here, Toronto does some things pretty good. So obviously we got some of the best medical staff in the league. We're on par with Saskatchewan for strength and conditioning. We're on par with Saskatchewan for team travel. Don't have it like Edmonton might. And treatment of families we're just below the top grades there. But here's the thing. Facilities and equipment, well, here's the thing. When they asked for comments, it's because the team uses Lamport Stadium as the training facility, as our practice field. And there are times where, in particular, a time in August when the Caribbean Festival comes to town, where they always use Lamport for their parade ground headquarters or whatever. So the Argos have to basically get on a bus and go to Centennial Park, which is out near the airport, which is a significant ways away from the downtown core. If you live in Toronto, you know how far it is away. I mean, technically, anywhere in Toronto is like an hour drive away, even if it's going a block. That's how bad traffic is. Let's face it. But anyway, enough of the joking. So that was one thing that brought that down. Also, apparently, some of the equipment is getting. It looks like some of the equipment is getting aged, so it needs to be replaced. So that's fine. Ownership. Well, I mean, it's corporate ownership. What do you want? It's a corporate ownership. It's an ownership group that's got a monopoly on sports in Toronto. What do you want? But here is where it gets interesting. Remember when I said that I that in the post-mortem video that about coaching was an issue? Turns out, according to this, it wasn't just Jason Shivers that was the problem, was it? Because that grade right there, being the worst coaching staff in the league, isn't in considering that last year, I think they had these two combined together. Last year, the Argos were like a B minus. So that right there is a massive indictment. A massive indictment to the fact that one of two things. Either Ryan Dinwiddie did it did it intentionally to try and get himself fired. Pardon me. Or he just had a massive brain, or he had his mind on something else and had a massive brain fart. Because to me, that's a massive indictment to why things went the way they went last year. That kind of proves my point. But anyway, at the end of all that, so now we move on from, that was 2025, we now move on to 2026. And the Argos announced the coaching staff. So you have your head coach, Mike Miller, quarterbacks coach, Chris Miller. So I'm just going to go through each of the bios here. Don't mind me. So Chris Miller and new coach Mike Miller are reunited after working together for 3 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals. 1987 first-round pick of the Falcons, named to the Pro Bowl in 91 before finishing his 10-year career with St. Louis and Denver. Coached high school football in Oregon following his playing days, becoming Cardinals quarterbacks coach in 2009. Returned to coaching high school football after his Cardinals experience. Spent 1 year as offensive coordinator with Houston of the XFL in 2020 before rejoining the high school ranks. Most recently as head coach at West Linn in Oregon. So he's a quarterback coach. But there's a lot more. And I think and as you could probably see here, there's some names that you recognize. Now, before I continue, the only one to survive this coaching purge was Mickey Donovan, the special teams coordinator. No other coach, and Don Picard. Yeah, Don Picard was he was running backs coach last year, and he got moved back to what he knows best, which is the offensive line. But nobody else survived the purge. Only 2 coaches survived the purge, which to me is also a massive indictment of what. And yeah, so anyway, so then you have Kier Johnson returns to the CFL after starring in the league for a dozen years. So he knows CFL ball quite a bit. 2-time All-Star, outstanding career, 194 games in Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Ottawa, and Montreal. Winning the most league's outstanding defensive player in 2011, getting 5 division All-Star nods, helping the Rough Riders win the Grey Cup in 2007. You're welcome, by the way, for that still. Once his playing days were over, he began coaching at Defiance College in Ohio before returning to Erie to coach at the high school level. Spent the last 2 years coaching at Gannon University. Hope there wasn't a Link University there as well. Sorry about this. The shitty joke. Sorry about the shitty joke there. So then we have Dominic Picard. We all know Dominic Picard. And then you have so you have the assistant offensive lines quality control coach. Don't care about that. But running backs coach, Kadeem the Dream, returns to Toronto. Kadeem Carey, we all know what he does. We all know what he is. Kadeem Carey comes home. This corrects a big mistake that the Argos made last year. They should never have cut him. Never have cut him at all. So there's that. Greg Quick, coming from Montreal, This is his third stint with the Argos. Over 40 years of coaching experience to the staff. Spent the last 5 seasons in Montreal working various roles in defense and special teams, helping the team to get to 2 Grey Cups, winning 1. Linebackers coach for the Boatmen in 2010, 2011, 2018. New defensive coordinator began coaching in 1979. 30 years working collegiately in the U.S. before becoming head coach at the University of Chicago in 89. First came to CFL 2010 with Toronto before stops in Montreal in 14 and Saskatchewan in 15 as a D coordinator. In 2019, Quick stepped away from coaching to become CFL's director of global scouting before returning to Montreal in 2021. The longtime coach played center Baldwin Wallace College, Division III school located in Ohio. So you have that. Then you also have Coach D-Max coming back. If you're an Argo fan, you know what D-Max is. He was part of the championship team in '96. He was actually our line coach back in 2024 before going to Edmonton and taking 6 or 7 players with him in that particular offseason. He's actually back as both defensive line coach and assistant head coach, which is fantastic for him. Now here's another name that you might recognize as well. One last one. Javon Johnson, defensive backs coach. Joins the Double Blue after coaching high school football in Houston for the last 6 years. 2011 Grey Cup champion with the BC Lions. Started his coaching career at Simon Fraser University. Coached running backs. Continued to work at the youth level as the executive director of TRU Diamond University Youth Sports Organizations. And since 2020, he was owner of Inspire and Develop Athletics, a group that, among other things, is a member of the Youth American Flag Football League. 5-year CFL veteran, played for BC, Saskatchewan, Ottawa, and with the Argos in the first half of 2015. Yeah. He was and Javon Johnson, I remember, he was a good player. So, and then of course, that's pretty much it. So, those are some of the big changes that have occurred over the This staff gets me excited. This staff gets me excited to see what kind of heads we can turn and what kind of damage we can do. So here's hoping that now that we have our coaching staff in place, we can start talking with some of our bigger names to see if they're going to be on board with this. And don't kid yourself. The Ed Herfey Memorial tampering window is coming up, and that's going to be coming up actually starting on, I believe I think I saw February 1st, the tampering window, and then free agency, and then everybody starts signing the contracts on February the 10th. So yeah, yeah, sorry about that. So that's pretty much. Oh, my camera did move. Son of a bitch. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for me this week. I'll be back in a couple of weeks to talk free agency. So I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Make sure you like and subscribe. It really you'd be surprised how much it helps. Thanks for watching. Cheers, everybody.